Hello gentlemen, and welcome back to another Payday 2 video. This time I decided to do something a little bit different, and I decided to sort of say, fuck it, I'm going to say a little bit of interesting facts about every Payday 2 heisters, except for Ethan and Hila because they're so fucking boring, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, welcome to a Payday 2 video. This time I will be saying a few interesting facts about every bit of heister in Payday 2. Keep in mind, I mainly know some of these facts mainly because of gameplay, or mainly because I actually did some time and read some of this stuff. So these are just mainly coming out of my memory, essentially. So, I may or may not have read some of it from the wiki, so, yeah, but I'm mainly going off of these on my memory. Keep in mind, there's going to be a lot of spoilers up ahead, so if I said something that might have pissed you off or that got you sad, fuck you, I don't care. Anyway, let's start off with the man himself. Dallas, aka Nathan Steele, was originally supposed to be a Texan heister, rather than being from Chicago. This can be proven by the earlier days of Payday 2 when he was voiced by a different actor with a Texan accent. Take a listen.
Foxy, follow me. Easy now. Stick him up, Foxy, come on. With me. Right there. Hands up. Hands up. Drop it there. Drop it. Keep them hands visible.
I'm actually very happy that they changed the actor because holy fucking shit, I can't imagine Dallas with fucking this voice whatsoever because it's... Jesus. And no, the Dallas medic bag meme is not funny. Fuck off. I am not making that meme. Another fact about Dallas is that he was once part of a Chicago mob in his earlier days, presumably in his 20s. That's just a speculation. He climbed the ranks quickly, going from a bouncer to a hitman. He eventually became extremely greedy and has tried to make his current mob and a rival gang member to turn against each other to steal money and to somewhat stop the mob gang going around Chicago. However, this turned out very horribly and they placed a bounty on his head, but he was able to survive it. Wolf, on the other hand, is likely a reference to Ulf Anderson, aka the original CEO of Starbreeze, or Overkill. I could be very wrong about that, so please correct me. He's original actor for Wolf, and he was also the original actor for Wolf on both Payday the Heist and Payday 2. This is mainly because of both of them working for a video game company and their appearances being somewhat the same, but not entirely the same, to say the least. Before Wolf went insane, he was simply just a simple man living peacefully in Sweden, in Stockholm. Mostly. He had a wife and kids, but presumably. The only reason he went insane is due to an economic crisis that occurred in 2000s, making Sweden having some sort of difficulties with money and yeah, etc. I don't really care. Wolf was working for a software company or like a game development company, and when the economic disaster happened, the company was slowly becoming bankrupt. Wolf tried to keep the clients to stay and to work on the project by taking loans and tried to pay to them, but it was too late to keep them when the company completely shut down because it had no revenue whatsoever, and Wolf and his family eventually became homeless. Years later, he went insane and robbed banks, and as he took inspiration from action movies and bank robbing movies. Hoxton is very well known for fighting off his brothers, high school bullies, and rival football players. Hence, one of the skills in Payday 2 that mainly relies on melee. It is a huge inspiration of Hoxton because he is a very talented fighter that didn't care who he pissed off. But because of this, he was able to make a lot of loan sharks and a lot of people that are like very powerful angry at him. And because of this, he would grow so much debt that it has come to the point where he would sometimes like be able to scare them off because of his fighting styles, and he would even sometimes work with them to pay off his head debt. Some of the powerful men did not see Hoxton as an unreliable person to believe in, but rather someone that they can rely on because of his fighting skills. Hoxton is one of the persons that are capable of starting a fight, but he's not the type of person to finish the fights, because of his ego, he can sometimes be in a situation where he sometimes get caught wide open, to say the least, because he's not the type of person to really handle fights well. He's the type of person that sort of starts it, even though he's a very talented fighter. And the name of Hoxton comes when he was first caught in Hoxton, London, trying to rob a liquor store at the age of 19. Well, fuck me. Anyway, Houston, being the younger brother of Dallas, at first didn't follow his brother's footsteps to become a part of the mob gang. He tried to become a con artist and a burglar, but things didn't really exactly go as well, and his debt eventually grew up. And however, one time he did a very big felony, major felony bullshit that would pay well. However, this wasn't enough to really pay off his debts. But when Hoxton eventually got arrested in Payday 2, when Payday 2 first came out, he was essentially a replacement to him because the gang needed a fourth member, and Dallas has insisted he brought his younger brother to replace Hoxton for the time being. Unlike every other heister, Houston is far more calculated and takes things way too seriously. He is known for taking care of the van and cleaning the guns every time, and doesn't seem like having fun when robbing. He is the type of person that wants everything to go perfectly and gets extremely angry when things don't go his way. He is the type of person that he sees himself as he wants to do things more perfectly, and he wants to clean and do everything the right way. He doesn't want any issues or mistakes. And because he focuses more on being stealthy, he's not the type of person to really be intimidating, to say at least, as can be heard from his voice lines. When he tries to intimidate a cobbler or civilian, he is not the type of person that is really good at intimidating. And is also a very nervous person when it comes to answering pagers. Change is a far more energetic one in the gang and takes things to the extreme. He punishes himself beyond what his body is capable of, and he believes himself to be unkillable and is invincible, and thus is always on the front line. He has cheated so many times to the point where nothing can seem to stop him. Change is the type of person that believes that nothing can stop him and will push things fucking too much, essentially. Chain used to be in the Navy SEALs, but because of his trigger finger being more terrible than a fucking drunk Russian with an AK and on the edge of accidentally shooting civilians, and plus his ruthless nature and unreliable personality, he was forced to be kicked out. But that didn't stop him, as he eventually became a mercenary for hire for the highest bidder. And for some reason, somehow, he was able to be friends with John Wick himself when he was in the Navy SEALs. John Wick went dark after love made him retire from the career of a hitman, helping the Tarasov syndicate rise to power in exchange for a quiet exit from the criminal life, to marry Helen, the love of his life. But a few years after he went legit, Helen contracted terminal cancer. When Helen passed away, she left John a posthumous gift of a dog named Daisy as a way to help him grieve. However, when the son of John Wick's former boss took away the only link left of his life and the only hope left, he essentially turned in and killed his son and every bit of member in the crime syndicate because of a fucking dog, which I don't blame him, including the man who granted him his freedom, since he appeared in Washington to continue his criminal trade and to remind DC of one of the most feared hitmen in the criminal underworld. But it is kind of weird of a hitman being part of a Payday gang when he doesn't want unnecessary killing, but yeah, who fucking cares. Clover was originally supposed to be voice acted by Ronna Cameron, aka voice actress for Bonnie, and I will get into that a little bit. Clover one-time tried to hop Hoxton years ago before they met, but when she failed, instead of getting killed by Hoxton, Hoxton genuinely liked her attempt and tried to reach her to become a better and effective robber. One time when they were robbing a ferry filled with rifles, Clover betrayed Hoxton and took some of the weapons for herself and sell it, and even had a weapon to keep for herself. Hoxton, instead of getting angry, he was very happy that he was able to teach a woman that to become a better robber. Eventually, when she joined the Payday gang, Hoxton forgave her about the incident ever since, and she is also the first ever heister to become a part of the Payday gang, essentially like a new one, to say at least. Dragon was a corrupt police officer. It is mentioned in the wiki that he enjoyed bringing up violence towards his quote-unquote suspects. It is also mentioned that he cracked a lot of skulls, money was constantly rolling in, and living like a king. Dragon seemed like he didn't care a thing about law enforcement, but mostly about money. Instead of caring and protecting the innocent lives, he was mostly dealt with money, as every criminal would pay him money to do whatever they want. And Dragon was completely okay with it. Dragon is a common name in Croatia. The meaning of dragon means being precious or a deer. But this is not the case with Dragon, as he is a far more brutal and aggressive type of person that enjoys hurting people for the sake of payment. He has also not mentioned the fact that he betrayed one of the officers to the butcher, and what was the reward? An invite to the Payday again, cause fucking why not? As previously said, Ronna Cameron was supposed to portray Clover because of her Scottish accent. Overkill chose another actress to fit Clover's Irish accent. However, Overkill liked Ronna's performance so much that they decided to make a character because of it. Bonnie is one of the strongest female characters lore-wise, being one of the tallest ones in the game. Instead of being an American woman where they have body counts, aka sleeping with as much men as possible, Bonnie decided to be a fucking Chad and actually have an actual body count, meaning kills, as every time she would marry a man, instead of cheating on them, she would fucking kill them in their sleep and take their insurance money to gamble it away, essentially. She is a heavy drinker and a gambler, and any sort of money she had the capability to get in her pocket, she would most likely gamble it. Because she was born in the 1980s, Scotland during that period was under a lot of pressure, mainly because of working classes that was treated harshly by the conservative ring, thus making Bonnie becoming a more criminal and a more ruthless person. Jacket is a very confusing one because Jacket is one of the heisters to never speak at all, only using an 80s mixtape to communicate. Jacket is really well known for his actions like cleaning out the Russian mafia all on his own in Miami, without any sort of help whatsoever. It is also better to mention that he was a soldier, precisely a part of a special unit. This special unit is most likely not named, but this could be just me because I never played Hotline Miami, so I don't really know that much, so please correct me in the comments. It is currently unknown if the Jacket himself in the game is the actual real Jacket himself from Hotline Miami, or is it just another person that pretends to be him that inspires him? Because if everything he did in Hotline Miami is canon in the Payday universe, he would most likely be in his 40s to 60s, but his appearance in the game suggests that he is in his 30s. However, the game does not really specify that this is the Jacket himself, and even if it is, he would need to be like 60 fucking years old to say at least. Sokol, before he joined, he was a very efficient robber in Moscow. He is known for robbing casinos, but it is unknown if he did it alone or with a crew. He used his fame as a way to escape the police, being a famous hockey player in Russia. Most wouldn't believe him to do such terrible crimes because he is very popular hockey player. Okay, enough. Eventually, he got caught up and was forced to join the gang because of his reckless nature. This Sokol, despite being a more calmer individual than the other heisters, he prefers to do things in a louder approach and cause more chaos. And he is also the type of person that doesn't want to do any sort of unnecessary killing whatsoever, as he prefers to kill only when it's necessary. He's also one of the heisters, same as Hoxton, to start a fight, but he's not a really efficient fighter to begin with. Jiro is most likely the only heister in the game to never speak English whatsoever during a heist. He has a deep hatred towards cloakers and is usually seen decapitating them really easily. The only time Jiro really speaks English is on the safe house when you go and talk to him. However, whenever he witnesses his son Kento dying on Hell's Island, Jiro refuses to speak to anyone in the safe house. Jiro was born in the 1960s to Japanese seamstress and the US Navy lieutenant stationed in Sasebo. Life was hard for him as shortly after his father left and eventually his mother leaving him, he eventually became an orphan and that was taught to rob and steal by some random young man. Eventually, when he became older, he joined the Yakuza and became a member there. Unfortunately, his boss had a specific rule but no one is allowed to date his daughter, but because Jiro fell in love with the boss's daughter, he basically had an affair. Well, not exactly an affair, but he fell in love, banged her, had a child, and he essentially got his wife killed, basically. And now he wants revenge, but we already know what the fuck happened. Bodhi, despite the game saying his origins are unknown, is actually born in Venezuela. Bodhi is one of the most athletic persons in the Payday gang, and is an adrenaline junkie that constantly wants action and does not want to rest. He got in contact with a man by the name of Ono Osaki and learned from his quest to complete the 8 ordeals of honor to forces of nature. His philosophy was that anyone who could find the perfect line through each of these ordeals would achieve nirvana, which I don't even know what the fuck it is, but I didn't do any research, so screw you. Bodhi was one of the Bodhi one time was on a boat with Ono Osaki after he completed his 3rd ordeal. Osaki wanted to stop a whale hunting ship from killing whales, for some reason. However, a whale hunter eventually ran over Osaki's boat, killing him. However, Bodhi was the only one to be able to survive, and committed himself to complete the 8 ordeals in order to show the world that they have to change their ways in order to save the planet. Before he joined, Bodhi used to be a part of a gang named the Ex-Presidents that he created. They robbed him numerous banks, maybe even before the gang, but this is just simply my speculation. And he despises tasers as he shares a passive ability like Jiro, where he is able to completely remove fucking chunks of a taser's brain with his weapon. Jimmy used to be a scientist and working for Aiken on cloning soldiers with like ice and shit. I don't fucking know. I never watched the hardcore entry, although I kinda wish I did. However, when Jimmy was unable to provide enough data or do enough work for Aiken, he was forced to be kicked out, and making him go crazy and join the gang. He mainly wanted to get rid of Aiken's database on cloning soldiers, and as a revenge, essentially. Jimmy is not concerned on his appearance whatsoever, and he does not care how people see him. He wants to be seen as a friend to some, or a grim reaper depending on who is with him. He is a very violent individual that tends to kill anyone that dares to even cross him, but as a comrade and a teammate, he is extremely loyal and does not have any plans on betraying anyone whatsoever. Cindy was originally part of a gang in Australia called the Dingoes, and eventually one time she heard the infamous Payday gang in Washington DC, as she wanted to rob them to prove herself that she is capable than anything in the world. Sydney is a mentally unhinged individual. She is someone that likes to cause havoc and seems to always wanting attention from everyone. This is mainly because of her fucking anarchy behavior. It is also speculated that she intentionally loves to leave traces of her so that she can cause more chaos, because she wants to be seen by cops more easily and she wants to cause more chaos. She does not have any sort of care about civilian life and is aggressive towards them. She is also responsible for taking a loot bag from the Payday gang when they were robbing a bank in summer 2016. And I am surprised for some reason that why they didn't even fucking kill her. Oh, what's that? This woman stole our money? Yeah, she can come in and be a part of us. If I was the gang, or Dallas for that matter, I would fucking execute her on sight. That dared to even take her money to begin with, but hey, this is Payday we're talking about. And she became literally every fucking person's waifu for some reason. I don't find Sydney that interesting, so fuck you. Rust, not surprisingly, doesn't really have many interesting facts, which is... Come on, it's fucking Rust. Is he even interesting to begin with? But nonetheless. Rust is one of the most oldest gang members in the gang, being 61 years old. Good fucking lord. According to the FBI files, Rust is known to be a very brutal bastard that has no regards on people's safety, and is also unknown on why he betrayed on the Overkill MC. Rust does not consider loyalty to be a thing, as he used to be part or loyal to the Overkill MC for years, but when the Elephant offered him a role to join the gang, he didn't even bother to even hesitate and took the deal, killing all of his members to join the gang. He is someone that just forgot the concept of loyalty, so yeah, whatever. Songers is a very dangerous man. Instead of being the one that invited them, Gage was the one that actually invited him to the gang. Before he was assigned to the gang, he used to be part of a Mexican cartel, being an enforcer or a hitman or an assassin. Well, they're essentially the same thing. His perk deck, Sicario, which translates to hitman, indicated that he was paid to kill like rich people or even like powerful rival cartels in order to sort of keep the situation at bay, essentially. But this is not confirmed. This is just my speculation. He crossed the border one day in order to make a big name for himself and take more months of money than he made in Mexico. However, that's where he met Gage and essentially gaining his trust and joining the Payday gang. Sunkers in his name translated means blood, or to bleed, essentially, and is one of the first ever heisters to have a range of shirts that can change randomly. There is no other heister in the game that has this special effect, and it's only him, which is weird, but yeah, I'm not gonna question it. Scarface's mask is a remnant of the movie poster with the color gradings, hence why his black, red, and white color shit, whatever. But it is kind of a mixed bag, because the wiki has stated that Overkill has specified that Scarface is not the same person as Tony Montana, which is weird considering the fact that the Scarface movie is literally somewhat canon to the Payday universe, but I'm not gonna question it. And is also likely to be the one that actually survived this shootout, but this is not confirmed. Because I'm mainly taking this off of wiki, because the game doesn't really explain that much of Tony. He just the game itself simply says, oh, Tony Montana is this big man with metal balls that fears nothing and is a fast talker. Homie's a man, you know. There's really not much information about him, so it's kind of hard to really talk about him. But whenever you're talking to Tony at the safe house, he sometimes mentions that he has never educated in his life and is only a street smart and only understands on how the world really works. which I'm not sure how true this is because I've never really watched the Tony Montana movies. The Scarface movie. Shut up. Duke's name being Linderhurst is not his actual name, but rather it is a name of his grandfather's friend, whose corpse can be found on Shackleton auction. But nobody really understands or knows why he chose this name, unless I'm missing something. Before he joined the gang, Duke has a wide knowledge of criminal dealings and is well known for his knowledge of ancient relics and artifacts, and he's the only heister in the gang that even understands or even knows anything about them, and loves to study it. He's the only heister in the gang that has a sort of gentleman-ish attitude, and is far more sophisticated than the rest of the heisters and it rarely swears, or never swears. He's the type of person that just takes things far more calmly. He is the most calmest person in the fucking game, which I don't like. Joy, despite being Japanese, never speaks Japanese whatsoever, no matter what, which is kind of weird. When Locke was first introduced, is speculated that when Locke hacked and threatened to delete CrimeNet if the gang didn't work for him, Joy was the one who did it because, according to the FBI files, Locke seems to be the one who taught Joy how to hack better and eventually had plans for her for the future and was hoping that she would become a member of the gang. But it is unknown how Joy even met Locke to begin with because the FBI files speculates that Locke was the one that taught her how to hack, but this is just simply a speculation by the FBI. And eventually she was able to become a member of the gang, mainly because at the time, Bane became a sick patient and when he was captured by the Murky Water and was injected by some weird virus. Bane being unable to hack, they needed a hacker to be able to do the computer bullshit, and so they brought along Joy, or essentially Locke brought in Joy. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Even though this thing seems a little bit rushed, I just wanted to do this thing for fun. So yeah, that's it. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you later. Adios.